welcome everyone. My name is Jeremy Babender. I'm the Executive Director of SciTech Institute, and co-hosting with me today is Beth Nickel from Arizona Science Center. We're so grateful for everybody joining us today for this session of STEM Community Lunchtime Conversations.
All right, welcome everybody. So during today's conversations, presenters will share ways that you can engage with STEM and sustainability throughout Arizona. So our presenters today are Jenny Frank, Education Outreach Coordinator with Maricopa Air Quality Department, and Kelly Meyer, Education Outreach Associate with Maricopa Air Quality Department. And also we have with us Michelle Caparelli, the Education Programs Manager with Arizona Sustainability Alliance. So thank you all for joining us today. Next slide. So today, during the first part of our conversation, our presenters will share presentations and information with you all. Once the presentations have concluded, we'll take a few minutes to answer questions from the chat, and then we will have participants join small moderated breakout rooms for group discussion. Our assigned moderators will use a few guiding questions from a Google Sheet, and then as we get closer to that point, we'll share the Google Sheet link with everyone so you can add in your own notes and information. When we return to the main room, we will ask for the breakout room moderators to share their top ideas and thoughts with the whole group. Next slide.
So before we get started, I want to go over a few housekeeping items. First, throughout the presentations, please continue to post comments and questions in the chat box. We love it as presenters can answer questions after them with their talk, but also really helps to create a vibrant conversation going on, especially for those like me that have ADHD and love to have a lot of other things that we can do at the same time. Two, please remain muted during the conference call, and of course, unmute when you're in the breakout rooms. And if you can, please keep your video on. It's so much more engaging and fun to video. That's probably good background music. Should we keep that running, you think? Maybe not. And then fourth, the presentation is recorded and we'll email the link follow-up later by next Tuesday. And then finally, if you have already done so, rename yourself to include the organization you're from. And it really does help so people know where you represent. So for example, I would put in SciTech Institute. I don't know, Amanda, if you know, but you're sharing the video with the presentation right now, unless you're planning on that.
Her mouse just had a technical difficulty.
Oh, really? Okay. But yeah, put in just add in, rename yourself. I'm going to put in SciTech Institute for me, so you know where I'm from. But it definitely does help. And then finally, with no further ado, we want to start with Jenny Frank and Kelly Meyer. They're both from the Education Outreach at the Maricopa Air Quality Department. Jenny Frank is a coordinator and Kelly Meyer is an associate. So they're going to talk a lot about their program. They've been awesome presenters with many of the festival events this past year and throughout, have some really engaging programs to talk with you about today. So thank you both for being here today.
All right, thank you so much for that introduction. And you gave everybody a little bit of a sneak peek about what to expect in our presentation today. I'm Jenny Frank, Education Outreach Coordinator for the Maricopa County Air Quality Department. And my co-presenter, as Jeremy mentioned, is Kelly Meyer, the Education Outreach Associate. We are so excited to share how the Maricopa County Air Quality Department is engaging the public to improve air quality in Maricopa County so we can all live, work, and play in a healthy and sustainable environment. Next slide, please. Common air pollution sources in Maricopa County include the following: smoke from wood-burning fireplaces and outdoor fire pits, car exhaust from driving and idling car engines, dust from off-road vehicles and construction sites, and emissions from businesses. When you think about air pollution, how many of you visualized just the picture of the factory with the smokestacks? Although our department regulates most businesses that emit pollutants into the air, much of our pollution is actually generated by us, engaging in everyday activities like driving to work or burning wood in a fireplace or a fire pit. Collectively, we generate a large percentage of the air pollution in Maricopa County. So if we want to make lasting improvements to the air, we must educate the public about simple actions everyone can take to help reduce air pollution. Next slide, please. I'd like to share a little bit about our outreach program and the strategies we are using to bring air quality awareness to the public. All right, take it away with the video. And next slide, please. So that just gives you a little bit of a sneak peek at some of our exciting programs. The purpose of school outreach is to educate the next generation of environmental stewards and, by extension, their families. Lessons and guest speaker presentations are aligned to Arizona academic standards and engage students in real-world air pollution investigations. We offer resources for grades kindergarten through 12th grade, both formal and non-formal settings. And best of all, our resources are absolutely completely free to schools within Maricopa County. Since 2015, we've reached more than 25,000 students. Next slide, please.
We also offer a variety of online educational resources available on our website, cleanairmakemore.com. These include online lessons, hands-on activities, and a virtual air pollution escape room. Students solve fun challenges and progress through 3 levels to save Maricopa County from air pollution. The escape room is fun for all ages. Next slide. In addition to outreach to schools, we educate the public through community events and health and wellness fairs, outreach to Spanish-speaking communities through our Spanish outreach coordinator, interactive air quality kiosk located at the Arizona Science Center, digital tools including our website and social media accounts, media exposure through ads, lightwear wraps, and billboards, and finally through our mascot, Mr. Gus T. Breeze. You can kind of see him in the upper right-hand corner there. Next slide.
Innovative programs like Mowing Down Pollution and our propane fire pit program provide residents with vouchers that can be used to purchase electric lawn and garden equipment or a propane fire pit, which helps to reduce particulates in the air because residents can purchase cleaner burning options. Our propane fire pit program, I think we've wrapped that up for the season, but we are moving down to Mowing Down Pollution when so many people are interested in landscaping and gardening. We're getting to that time of year. So keep an eye out for that. That'll be coming up in the next couple of weeks. Next slide, please.
Collaborative partnerships with other organizations has helped to expand our reach. We support our partners by providing them with activities, materials, attendance at events, and sharing posts on our social media accounts. They support us by providing opportunities to share the clean air message with their stakeholders. Shout out to a few of our amazing partners, including SciTech Institute, Chief Science Officers, Arizona Association for Environmental Education, Grand Canyon University, Arizona Informal Educators Network, and Office of the Maricopa County School Superintendents. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Thanks. We created a GIS map to show our impact countywide. You can see all of the locations where we have attended an event or presented at a school. Next slide, please.
Well, at this time, we invite you all to become a clean air champion. There are, like, as I mentioned earlier, so many simple actions everyone can take to help reduce air pollution and improve air quality. You can see a few on the slide there. You might notice that many of these actions revolve around our driving habits. So if we can take cars off the road, that reduces particulates from car exhaust and improves the air. So walking or biking, if that's available, riding public transit, carpooling with a friend. Another important action is to avoid idling in long drive-through lines. So if you're going to a pharmacy or a fast food restaurant, if it's an option, park your car and go inside. Or if you really do need to be in that drive-through line and your engine's going to be idling for more than 10 seconds, it's much more fuel efficient to turn your engine off and then restart when it's your turn to move up in the line. So just a couple of things to think about, as well as fueling up after dark, which can greatly impact levels of ground level ozone. So that's another very easy action everyone can do, especially during the months of April and through September. Next slide, please.
Please.
So future plans. Going forward, we plan to expand our digital options for educators, including recorded and on-demand lessons. We want to strengthen our partnerships. And also, we'd really like to expand educational opportunities for underserved students who live in areas that suffer higher levels of air pollution, according to Maricopa County Air Quality Department air monitoring data. Next slide, please. So at this time, we would be more than happy to answer any questions that you might have. So I think there might be some posted in the chat. And I don't know, Kelly, if you see it, if you see some, you want to call those out?
Yeah, let me take a look here. I have to scroll up. I haven't looked since we've been talking.
I see a question from Ava. Are there any jobs that students could do in the future for air pollution? And that's a great question. We have a wide variety of careers in our air quality department. I think there's 159 positions, including air permitting engineers, folks who work in planning and analysis, looking at the emissions inventory, air quality inspectors. Of course, we have our whole outreach division that Kelly and I work for, our travel reduction program. So there's really so many careers for a wide variety of interests. And we do have a presentation specific to air quality careers that we do for schools.
Yeah, that looks like our main question. We just have comments about remote working and similarities to here and in Mexico as well.
And remote working has been really interesting. Prior to the pandemic, I drove down or took the bus down to an office every day. And then when county leadership sent county employees home to work remotely, what our department discovered was that people were actually more productive working from home. So that's become a feature of our workplace ongoing. We typically go into the office one day a week now, and the rest of our time is either spent out in the field or working remotely. So our department, our director is hoping to lead by example with remote working. And I think we have one more slide.
We also have a question about summer day camps as well. Looks like. Do
you want to read that question? I don't see it.
I didn't actually write it in. It's kind of complicated, so I thought I would just ask it. This is Marnie from Discoverocity Zone. So my little small business helps a summer camp with their STEM programming. And so it's my job as their STEM consultant to find activities and presentations and presenters to come in. And so you said you were free to schools in Maricopa County. But I'm wondering, for, places like the YMCA, which is hosting, day camp all summer long for kids, or for the camp that I work for, which is in Ahwatukee, would you guys come out and essentially do what you do in schools, but for the day camp? And if you would, is there a charge for that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we can hook you up. We have a completely free, non-formal education program. So we developed activities that were specific for after-school programs, day camps, summer camps, all those types of venues. And if you want to contact me, send me an email or send Kelly an email. We can get you all of the information on that. We would love to come to your camp and present air quality information to your campers.
Fantastic. That would be great. And just as a point of curiosity and also to kind of piggyback off the question about careers in air, reducing air pollution. I think it was in the Phoenix Business Journal fairly recently. There's a company coming to Chandler, I want to say, that like they are specializing in taking cars like that you already have and converting them to electric vehicles. They'll take the car that you already have and convert. So obviously there's jobs there in the private sector for that. But I'm wondering, do you guys is Maricopa County involved in that at all in terms of incentives, or do you guys have an opinion on that? Good, bad, indifferent? I'm just curious.
Well, I'm not familiar with that program, so it sounds like a great program. I would hate to venture an opinion on it. I would suspect that they probably will need an air quality permit with the type of work that they do, but I don't know that for sure. But that's a really great, it sounds like a really interesting program and a great way to help improve the air. We do have in our fleet several electric vehicles. Not all of our vehicles are electric, but we are moving towards that. And because I think that's the way of the future. Eventually, we're all going to end up there. But that's an interesting program. So thank you for sharing that. I'd also like to mention in terms of the resources that we provide to schools. So with our lesson plans and with our non-formal program, we also provide resource kits with most of the materials you would need to teach any of the lessons. So if you're an educator, whether formal or non-formal, you don't have to find it, buy it, or make it. We provide it.
So good. This is awesome. A lot of good questions that are coming, and continue if you can. Just keep posting the questions in the chat. I love the strategy with Jenny and Kelly, where one's monitoring the questions, the other's doing the presenting. I should think about that in the future for a lot of other presenters too. It's really smart. If possible, I want to cue our next speaker, Michelle Caparelli, and she's the Education Programs Manager at the Arizona Sustainability Alliance. And so really excited to have her here to talk a little bit more about what's going on in the state with the Alliance.
I should probably unmute. I was talking to no one. I did a great job there. That's fine. Hi, everybody. So as Jeremy said, my name is Michelle Caparelli. I am the Educational Programs Manager at the Arizona Sustainability Alliance. Arizona Sustainability Alliance is a nonprofit organization that works on 4 main pillars here in Arizona: food system sustainability, renewable energy, conservation, and urban forestry. And it has been an absolute dream for me working there, and I'm really excited to be sharing with you guys the programs that I am in charge of specifically today. And I'll talk a little bit about some of the other programs as they kind of transition in with the slides, but I'm excited to be here. So thanks for having me. Thanks to SciTech, and this is great. It's great to have everyone here. So, So the first program I'm going to talk about is a program called Sow It Forward. What happened was we noticed there was a need in the city of Phoenix due to the fact that we have a large amount of food deserts, right around 75%. And this low access food typically not only will impact, everyone in the area, but especially K through 12 students while they're in school and their ability to actually thrive in these environments. So what we have now done is in our Sow It Forward program, in K through 8, typically we're trying to work it into high schools. We're doing a farm to market education, which is done through these tower gardens, and they're vertical aeroponic gardens. I have one behind me. I get to play along with everybody else. They're a lot of fun. And we provide them to low income schools and Title I schools, as well as curriculum involved with it. I was a high school educator for 10 years. And so I've been writing the curriculum and working on it. And it's all standards based. We give everything to the teachers when they're in the program. And it allows them to really expand on certain aspects of their curriculum that they may not get to otherwise, as well as introduce students in the area to different types of foods that they may not have normally been exposed to or normally have tried. And then at the end of it, they take their harvest and they sell it to their local community through a school-run farmers market. And so if you've never seen these vertical gardens before, they're cool. They start off looking a bit like that. They're nothing. We have rock wool in place of soil, and what happens is water pumps up through the tower garden and vertical garden. Any of them all do the same thing. It rains down and then it grows, and we see a lovely bounty and harvest for the students to be able to work with, when they're done. Last year with COVID, because the farmers markets didn't really get to happen, they actually did like a cooking demo and the students got to use the foods. They get to use the foods as well in the classroom, but it's a really enjoyable program for the students to be able to, not only get to see something from seed to plant and watch the actual agriculture aspect, but they really get to expand their knowledge of just different types of foods and food system sustainability overall. In our high school program that typically is run with high schools, but we do have a couple elementary and middle schools that work with this. We have our Food Tech for the Future program. This one ties in a much bigger, much broader tech aspect, as well as, food system sustainability and improve overall agriculture literacy in urban areas. Because a lot of times students in the middle of a city don't really understand that food has to come in from a farm and be brought in. It just shows up at the grocery store and they buy it with mom and dad, and that's how all of this happens. So these food computers we were partnered with a amazing corporation out of Missouri called Mars Farm. We provide these food computers to low-income and Title I schools, and these students, once again, get a very hands-on curriculum, research-based planning of how do I grow these foods in these self-contained environments. And I have one of the models as well in my house. It's right there. I'm also working from home right now, so I could understand Maricopa County with that. But it's a really, really fun program for the students. It's got a Raspberry Pi board on the top of the system. So students get to work with coding as well as understanding the agricultural aspect to what it is they do. So they're awesome. They're really very futuristic looking. I think they're really fun. They're a little terrifying when you don't realize the lights are going to be bright, bright, bright pink. But they grow in these self-contained environments. There's a camera inside it. So even if you're not there, you can monitor it, which is great for the students to be able to get real-time data. Also inside these computers, there are CO2 sensors and water sensors and humidity sensors. So what it does is it gets to consistently monitor the environment. And one of the goals of the program is that if they grow different things, they can take this real-time data and allow them to really, okay, what happens if I adjust this? If I give it more water, if I give it less water, if I add more nutrients, less nutrients, how are the plants reacting? And then how does the environment react to those plants? So it gives them a really broad sense of like how agriculture can actually impact our environment, as well as what can we do to enhance our, how we grow things in the future. The last program that I'm in charge of, which ties into one of the big components of the Arizona Sustainability Alliance, which is urban forestry. We are big on tree plantings. We have done them all across the valley, and we are here to help beautify our community. But the urban forestry education program, its goal is to engage not only educators, but then their students in urban forestry. So often we have students that will go off and they're in the middle of Phoenix. And so they're exposed to the, heat island, urban heat sprawl and all that. And they don't necessarily realize that they're parks and all of these locations and why they're so impactful to our environment. So we connect educators to our program. They come in, we give them a curriculum. They spend about a week with us. And then at the end, we go on a field trip. This year, we're going to do some tree plantings in some areas at the end of all of this. And our goal is to train educators to talk about urban forestry within their curriculum and give them ways to build it into their daily lessons so that students can become more aware of all these things going around. And I think that's pretty much all I have. This is my contact information if you guys have any questions, or if there's something you think of that you want to know about, but I will ask, does anyone have any questions for me right now? It's the end of my presentation.
Actually, it looks like there's several questions for you in the chat. I don't know if there's one that you wanted to specifically address first.
I will look. That's fantastic. Okay. Sorry, I haven't been looking at the chat while I've been talking.
Yeah, but there's some, figure you might be the best to kind of look at the three if there's one that you wanted to do.
Let's see. Awesome. Destiny, I also love aeroponic garden programs. So big fan there. Let's see. Thank you for having them, Botany. So my bachelor's degree was in nutrition management. So this was a huge blend for me. I'm getting my doctorate right now in sustainability education with the focus on food system sustainability. So this is all my loves together. Let's see. Have I looked into working with the food safety program at the University of Arizona? I have not, Dana. I hope I said that right. That sounds like something I should definitely be looking into. If that is someone you know, and you have an email or a contact, that would be great. Let's see. Marie, thank you. I also think it's very cool. The sensors really are with the food tech program. It's fun. Like it's part of the reason I have them in my house is so I can ideally offer, advice to educators when they say, hey, what's this mean? But it's been really interesting to watch as my plants have gotten bigger. The first plant they always grow is bok choy. And it's fun because it's not always something they've been exposed to. And so now you get to teach them a different type of recipe and different types of cuisine, as well as, what do they do? And then they grow whatever they want after that first time for the most part. So it's fun to have all the educators talking with each other about what they see. But yeah, it does, overall it does impact. Let's see. We do work with Trees Matter. We're partnered with them in the Urban Forestry Roundtable, which AZSA was one of the main founders of, as well as Trees Matter, and the city of Phoenix is also hugely involved with that. So it's a really fantastic organization. If any of you have any interest in that, please, once again, send me an email. I will do what I can. Do you take surrounding surface temps when I do all this? I haven't inside that. I don't believe there's a thermometer. Not that it would be hard. And the tower gardens are actually, although they are bright, as you all can see in my background, it gives me a lovely angelic glow, I feel like, when I present. But it is a very low energy at the end of the day in terms of demand, and it also gives off very little heat, or it'd be uncomfortable with me sitting next to it all day. And that's what I could attest to. Thank you, Douglas. I'm glad. Let's see.
There's a lot of questions. That's just awesome.
There's tons of stuff. Let's see.
Keep them coming, guys. If you have more questions, please ask it for both of our speakers. This is much better to have you ask them.
Barb, I will direct message you back, but yes and no. But whatever school you're at, we can talk. Let's see. We haven't done, so typically what we do in terms of when you say fruitful trees, I assume we're talking about something that is fruit bearing. Typically what we do are Arizona native species, and it's not that obviously citrus doesn't grow incredibly well here, because we all know it does, but we have a tendency to focus more on pollinators if we're going to focus on a plant, because of the vast things they do. And depending on where we're planting, we have a tendency to just work with the park or the school or whoever it is that has questions for us. Like right now we're getting ready to do a tree planting at a school, and they were very particular, not even particular, logical, in the sense of they didn't want anything with thorns, and they didn't want anything that was going to be super high maintenance, and they didn't want anything with too much pollen. And so you're working with whoever it is. Let's see. So do you have jobs? Ava, I'm not quite, I'm not sure what you mean by do we have jobs for people that do this? I would love to hear a little bit more on that. Destiny, once again, please feel free to send me an email, and I'm happy to look into schools and all sorts of places. Yay, pollinators. Yay, thanks, Casey. Yeah, I think I got them all. Are there any jobs that students could do in the future? So we actually have a program that runs currently through Phoenix. We do a workforce development. We are a very volunteer-based organization, so I can't offer pay for everything. However, I am really into, if anybody wants to volunteer, you have any interest in the organization, please reach out to me. I will get you in contact with everyone that you need for whatever task you have an interest in. And I bet we can find a way to get you involved. We love all the help and we love people being into our organization. We're pretty small, we're pretty new, but we're celebrating. It'll be our 5th year anniversary coming up in a couple months, or 5-year anniversary, excuse me, in just a couple months. So we're pretty baby. So we need all the help we can get, and we love connecting with people. So
I'm really excited about, just like we had a lot of people coming for this topic. Obviously, it's probably a pretty exciting one about sustainability given its importance. I did want to give, if possible, Casey, could you talk for like a couple minutes? Is that, we're trying our best to create more conversations and intersections and collaborators around sustainability. And I know we've talked with a lot of the people in the call today about the ecosystem, but maybe Casey could talk for maybe like a couple minutes about what's happening with the ecosystem, and that might be a follow-up for people to consider joining and taking an active role in it.
Yeah, hi everybody. So I'm Casey. I'm the STEM Ecosystem Coordinator for SciTech Institute. We have been doing these STEM community lunchtime conversations for over a year now, I think. Pandemic time is not the same as regular time, so don't quote me on that time window. But we've really noticed the power of getting people together in a room, obviously virtually right now, who are all interested in the same topic. And part of our goal at SciTech Institute is making STEM connections. And so a lot of times our work involves working with nonprofits or government agencies or schools or businesses, and they'll come to us and say, hey, a great example, Maricopa County air quality is all over it, but like, let's say they were coming to this meeting for the first time. They're like, we have these programs, we want to do outreaches to schools, and SciTech Institute, a lot of our role is making those connections. And so we realized in these STEM community lunchtime conversations that having people who are all interested in the same sort of topic all in one room is a really powerful way to build community connections and create collaborative projects. So we've been sort of taking note over the past couple of years of some of these hot topics that a lot of organizations are interested in collaborating around. And one of them is sustainability. So about 3 months ago, we started a sustainability working group that is part of our ecosystem project. We have other working groups and other hubs. And if you're interested in joining any of those working groups or STEM hubs, you can fill out that form and I'll send you some more information. But the sustainability working group, we have a couple of really exciting things coming up. We're going to be doing a whole sustainability month in April, and we have Maricopa County Air Quality has so kindly shared their format for a digital STEAM event with us, and so we'll have virtual rooms that'll unlock every week of STEM Sustainability Month. We're also working with Green Living Magazine, and we're going to do a sustainability fashion show in April. And then moving forward, we're hoping to build a statewide sort of toolkit or roadmap for educators who are interested in incorporating more sustainability education into their classrooms, or if they're an informal educator, their programs. So great question, Ava. So all of the working groups, we sort of have different schedules, but the sustainability group, we meet once a month right now. And then depending on the other working groups, we also have diversity, equity, and inclusion, STEM and libraries, community impact, pre-college STEM programs, workforce. And then we have a few other ones that are up the road a little bit that we'd like to start out. So if you have any questions about any of those working groups, you can email me. I'll put my link in the chat. If you want to sign up and get on the mailing list for any of those working groups, or your local STEM hubs, which meet quarterly, they're geographic, an opportunity to sort of connect with people geographically. That link in the chat is how you can sign up for those mailing lists.
Awesome. Thank you, Casey, so much for sharing about the work, the sustainability working group, as well with SciTech and the STEM ecosystem. Thank you everyone for joining our conversation today. So we're actually going to be stop recording, and we're going to continue our conversation in a little bit more depth into our breakout rooms. So